Yo, what is up everybody? Welcome back to Joe's Garage for another episode of Subaru Saturday. In this week's video, I make by far the most technical piece that I've had to make for the 2.5RS so far on the entire restoration. I'm pretty excited with the results. It is not perfect by any means, and I'm gonna clean it up a little more before we weld it in. But before we get into all of this, I wanna get the giveaway knocked out. We're gonna announce the winner from last week's video by pulling the name out of the hat like we did the first week, and then we're gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about what you need to do in order to participate in another wireless earbud giveaway. Let's just jump right into that, and then we'll take off with this piece that I made for the 2.5RS. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Alright, this week we're going to be using a stocking due to the holiday season. Little Joe's got his stocking. I'm going to throw the names in and count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's go ahead and shake it up. Alright, pull the winner. Who do we got?
Victor Villa 5524.
Let's go, Victor Villa. Giveaway winner number 2. Sophie, you want to say Merry Christmas?
Merry Christmas.
Alright, so now that we announced the winner from last week's wireless earbud giveaway, I want to go ahead and tell you guys what I need you to do in order to enter and participate in this week's wireless earbud giveaway. I'm going to make it a little bit easier this week than the previous 2, and what I want you guys to do is just make sure you like this video, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, make sure to leave any kind of comment on this video. I don't care what you guys say, just make sure you leave me a comment, and you have to email me at joesgarage.yt@gmail.com. I'll show you guys that right here, and I'll make sure it's in the description below. But if you do those 4 things, it enters you in a chance to win a free set of wireless earbuds. We already have given 2 away now. I have 2 left, and we're going to be doing this for 1 more week. All I ask of you to do is get that done before Wednesday so I can shoot that piece for next week's video. And yeah, there you have it. This week there wasn't as many as I expected in the giveaway. I'd love for more people to participate. Either way, I'm excited to give these last 2 wireless earbuds out. But let's just go ahead, get into the work on getting that piece that I made welded in and show you guys a little bit of the way how I made that. I'm super excited because, you know, this was a really difficult piece to make, but I think it came out pretty good, and going forward I'll have a better idea of how to, you know, really manipulate the metal. Let's get right to work on the 2.5RS. Alright, now that we have the exterior piece of the rocker support finished, not quite the entire rocker panel and some of this pinch weld done, we're going to be working on this backside piece. And last week I did do some work to it, but I didn't really show that in the video because nothing really came of it. What we're going to do is our best to recreate this piece of metal here, that this plate from the T-frame would sit on, connected to the body, also well mounted to the frame right here. I think I have a good idea of how this is gonna go, and luckily enough I have the piece right here that needs to be recreated. Now half of it is missing due to the rust that was back here, but I think we're gonna have no issues. It's not that big of a piece. It's just one bend really, and the rest kind of flushes out to the back. I'm not using any measurements. I'm just gonna go off the fly here and use a couple things to make it try and line up. And that's what we're gonna be doing for this week's video. The very first thing I'm going to do is get some cardboard pieces cut for the length of this, which we know will run from here to this back piece. This is uncut. And we want it to be all one piece. So I'm gonna need something that stretches pretty much all the way to here is where I will cut it off, because I think we're gonna cut some of this out. So here is a very rough draft. You can see I marked these 2 here to try and line it up with the piece on the bottom. And I want to bring this cardboard overlapping here. It's got to meet this crease, so that's going to be a custom little cut. And then this has to come all the way over here. And while I make the piece, I need to remember that I want to put this arch in it so I can actually, you know, make it all in one piece. That's pretty solid. It's kind of what it looks like. So I don't think it's gonna be too difficult as long as I can get this bend here and the mounted nuts in the correct place. But after I make the bend and everything and match this one, I can just put this on top, draw the holes, drill them, and then weld the nuts on. Before I even weld it in, I will try and line it up with my actual plate. We're gonna go ahead and try and cut some of this metal out of my new sheet metal and try to start working this around and get an idea of what this is gonna look like. Now, I'm not gonna show you guys the entire process because you've already seen it like 10 times. We're just gonna go through and get a couple nice clips of what we're really doing here. Let's just make this 3.5 on both. Well, we're gonna have to do it this way in order to get this piece here that I need. I'll have to go mark that. Okay. Okay, so there we have it. We got the little bump up. We've got the length of it. We're just gonna go ahead and try and cut this thing. I'm actually gonna use the plasma cutter to try and cut. Maybe I can get a little bit cleaner cuts than the cutoff wheel. I'm gonna line it up a little differently. I'm gonna get this set up really quick and then we're just gonna cut that piece out and see what it looks like. All right, this is all set up. Let's go ahead and go for it and see what we get. That's a clean cut. That's beautiful. That took like 2 seconds and made the cleanest cuts ever. Now I hope I have this in the right place. If not, I wasted a little bit of metal, but let's go under the car and find out how this looks. That was just so much faster than using the cutoff wheel. I really need to do that more often. So that looks pretty close. It's a hair off. I did cut it a hair off. It kind of bites a little bit. It just needed to be a hair farther this way. We'll see when I bring this piece up. So now I want to make this bend. Before I trim this up anymore, I really want to make this bend right here. I guess I'm gonna mark it with this piece in the proper location. I can do that by kind of simming where this will go and then marking this with the marker. Worst case, I lost like a quarter or a little smidgen right here is all. Yeah, it would be like just a smidge off over there, which that's all right. I'm not too worried about that. All right, so that kind of gives us an idea of what we're gonna look at, because we'll put these right here like this, and then we'll just match the bend based off of this right here. Right here. Okay, so that's where this kind of goes. And the rest is kind of make believe. All right, let's take this over to the vise and see if we can do it. Let's go ahead and give that a quick measure. Well, I missed the entire process of me bending this. That's funny, I had the camera in the wrong spot, so sorry guys, you didn't get to see me start forming this up. And I missed by just a hair here. The crease is in a different spot than I wanted it to be, but it's not a big deal. So I'm just trying to get this bend in the exact spot that I wanted it. You know, I don't have any special tools to make these pieces. I'm really just doing the best I can. This would be like this. The bend is nearly perfect. You can see it doesn't match just a hair. Let's lay that piece in there. That is nearly perfect. So yeah, when it's bottomed out, it's almost perfect, which I'm gonna go with that. This is my first shot at this piece here, and it's kind of a complicated piece. Yeah, I gotta bend that bottom in order to get it in here. Shoot. Okay, so the vise wasn't working great because this is such a long piece. Yeah, so we're gonna try something different. I'm gonna go grab the hammer. All right, so now we just need to go back and get the crease as best as we possibly can here. Ooh, that banging's giving me a headache though. Pretty good, that's pretty much what I was looking for. Let's go ahead and take these off. Let's put it up on the car and see what we got. So before we go to the car, I do want to show this. I had these marks where this lined up. So this is lined up still, okay? And look, we have plenty of room here for the nuts. That is where we would go through to mount the H plate. Let's see if this actually fits in the car. All right, moment of truth here, really. Bend is right. I'm gonna go make some adjustments and bring this back. We're getting there. What's stopping you now? I gotta trim just a piece off of this. Alright, so there's some paint drying on the 2.5RS, and that gives me time to ask you guys the question of today's video. Super quick, simple, and easy. What is your current daily driver? Mine is a 2012 BMW 535 xDrive. It has the inline 6 with the turbo, and it's got the M package. It's not an M series, but it's got the M package with the bigger wheels, the trims that have M all over it, paddle shifters, and I absolutely love the car. It's got 180,000+. I've owned it for a little more than a year now, and it's been really great. Actually, what's funny, check this out. This was the auction sticker when I bought it. I have it hung on my wall. I bought it oh my goodness, in 2023. Wow. But yeah, here it is, 535 xDrive 2012. Bought it with 177, and it's got 182 now, I believe. I really only drive it from A to B. That's like from my house to the shop, or if I'm going to work elsewhere. Most of the time when I'm with the family, we drive my wife's Nissan Rogue. It's a lot easier to drive, and it's a lot cheaper for the fuel. So definitely let me know your current daily driver. If you're new to the channel and you're watching this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button. We do this every week. I have another exciting video about the 2.5RS and future projects to come on Joe's Garage. I'd really love for you guys to join the team and follow the journey as we go. And yeah, make sure to let me know your daily driver. Can't wait to hear about it, guys. But let's get right back into the work on the 2.5RS and get that piece finished up so I can show you guys the finished results. All right, so I just want to talk a little bit about what we just did here and how I made this work. Now, I'm not sold that it's perfect, and I am going to line this up a little better. There's some depth issues here, and I didn't realize how bad the rust was underneath here. So I think I might only weld to here, remove this piece later on while I fix this down that way. But mainly what I wanted to get here was this portion, and I want to show you guys. The original one would have sat right here. It's hard to show you with my piece on there, but you can see where those indents would have went, and the two mounted nuts would have gone inside right there, and it's pretty close. This one's a little closer to the edge, so I'm hoping when I drill through, I'm able to put the nut on the inside and have no issues. But how I got those marks was I threaded the actual plate from the T-frame in. But you can see it's tight now. It's a tight fit. This is pretty much exactly how that will mount up. And there's a rubber bushing in there, and there's some play in here, so I don't think it necessarily will affect any of the alignment or any kind of issue like that. I'm not certain about that, but this is pretty accurate. So now that I have this up here like this, we'll go ahead and pull this down. We're gonna go ahead and bring this back down, drill out those holes. I will test this inside to see how far off it is. I know it's a little off, but it's where the crease is. These have more depth, then my crease is a little more shallow. But I don't think that'll matter as long as when I go to weld the nuts on the back side of this plate here, it mounts up nice and clean. So I need to do the absolute best job I possibly can, drill these out super clean, and then go ahead and try and find some nuts and bolts that'll mount to it that I can use. And then the only other thing that's not lining up is this piece, because it does kind of go in here, you could see, but I will kind of manipulate this to line up after I get a couple tacks in. This is pretty thin metal here because it's pretty whooped, so I'm curious to see how this goes, but I just want to get this piece done before I wrap up this week's video. I'm gonna go ahead, drop this, then drill those holes, find some nuts and bolts, mount them on, and there we'll have it. So I'm gonna go get this set up in the vise, drill out the holes, and we'll go from there. All right, so we have our piece right here, and I need to make the absolute cleanest holes here in order to do this properly. So I'm gonna do the absolute best I can. I've got some new drill bits. We're gonna go ahead and mount this up, put a little tap hole into it, and go for it. Okay, so we got the center punch here. I'm gonna put this right in the middle. That will give us a center to start drilling. It's solid steel. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the nut and bolt and see what we work with here and see if it goes through, and then we're gonna go from there. All right, so I went to the hardware store, picked up some brand new nuts and bolts, 5/16, 1 inch. Oh yeah, that's exactly what we want. So let's turn it over and see if we're gonna have space to actually weld this nut down, which it's gonna be close. Oh, it's looking good. It's looking really good. Where did I put the washer? Okay, here we go, here we go. Oh, we got plenty of space. That's really, really good. That's really, really good. Okay, very good. So check that out. That's where the nut needs to be, right there. It's pretty much right where I wanted it to. I didn't miss by any means. So really, I just need to weld that on. Once this is welded on in place, that will be our mounted nut for this, so we can bolt the T-frame plate to it when this is welded in. And obviously I had to do this while it was down in order to actually, you know, have it the way we wanted it. So I'm gonna go ahead, get the other drill in place, and then I'm gonna I don't know if I can weld this while it's on here, if it will hurt the threads of the nut, or what I will do. It'd be really probably better for me just to tack it on with one little tack and then remove the bolt itself. But we're gonna drill this other hole really quick, and then we will go from there. Let's get this out. I'm super pumped. This is zinc. These are zinc. They're the strongest grade 8 nuts and bolts. Very strong. This will not break. No chance this one's gonna break. But I'm super pumped because that was the perfect size hole. We didn't get too big with it. This is the perfect nut for it. Let's go ahead and just drill this other one out really quick. Get that done. Get this piece welded on so we can wrap up this week's video. Imagine if I got my finger pinched in the spring here. Oh, you know what's funny, guys? This is hilarious. I should have thought of it, but remember I said this was a 5/16 nut and bolt. This is actually a 5/16 drill, so clearly it was gonna fit. Sometimes I forget things like that. Oh yeah, plenty of space. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the other one on also, and we're just gonna tack those on, and then we're gonna weld this piece in the car. Super excited about this. Like I said earlier, to open the video, this was by far the most technical piece I've had to make yet. And it's by no means perfect, but I think it actually looks really solid for my first attempt at something like this. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Okay, right there. All right, now those are, it does look just a hair off, but that's because it's obviously not bent cleanly and perfect. You know what, guys, let's get somebody to sponsor me and send me an actual metal brake so I don't have to keep using my vise to make these bends. I need an English wheel. I do have a stretcher. I don't know about a shrinker, but you know, obviously this isn't like a perfectly bent piece, and I tried to mimic the crease as best as I could, but this is just the best I possibly could make with my vise, and honestly it came out really good for what it is. So we're gonna go ahead, like I said, we're gonna weld these two on very quickly, tack them, and then really weld them on nice and clean, and then we're gonna coat it up with some primer, and we're gonna weld this piece in. I'm super pumped to see how it comes out. All right, so both nuts went right in. gave me a little trouble at first. Let's go ahead and run them both in again real quick. That's good. That's good. I mean, those are tight. Those nuts are definitely not gonna break off. That's really what I wanted to show, was that, look, it's holding really nice. I got them in place. And yeah, I went a little crazy with the welds. I've never really welded nuts, mounting nuts before, but I don't think it matters. They're tight, I mean, that's okay. They're solid, I know it's not gonna go anywhere. Now what I'm gonna do is put this up and see if the plate, I can get these in with the plate. And if that's the case, we're welding it up. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's see if we get this threaded up. Oh, it is perfect. Now, I don't know for sure if this plate is in the exact proper position, but I think there's ability to have it moved just here and there. So you can see, take a look at that. Those are perfect. I can't even believe it, and I'm just so excited because that's a really clean, that's just clean. The way that all goes together is super clean. I'm so happy about that. And everything lines up pretty nicely here too. So what I'm gonna do is get a little tack in a few spots, maybe one right here, maybe one right here, and kind of manipulate the rest of the metal to hit where I want it to. But I'm gonna run the nuts in just to make myself happy and see what it's gonna look like when the nuts are in. But it's gonna be perfect. And that's really, really good. So the piece looks really good. I mean, if you look at this, other than these indents in the metal, which maybe I can manipulate it a little bit, it doesn't need to match. This is looking really solid. And once I kind of get it on there, welded, and then manipulate it, it's definitely gonna be solid. So let's go ahead, put the nuts in, and then just kind of tack it together and see what we get. Even when I have those in place, kind of moved everything the way I kind of want it. I need to bring this side up a little bit, like that. This is good. This is really, really good. I kind of wanted to weld or prime up the inside of this metal piece. So we're gonna take it all down, and then I'm gonna put it right back up, and then we're just gonna tack it in and manipulate some of this metal. And I'm just super pumped with how this lines up right now. I'm really excited about it. Let's go ahead and take it down, spray it up, and then we'll get this thing in place. I'm not even sure if I need to spray the back of this because I think it's sealed up. I just don't know, so I guess it doesn't hurt just to spray this just to be safer than sorry. You know, I would hate to have any issues later on because I didn't seal it up with anything and I closed it all up. And I think I might get some stuff you could spray with a hose into a hole, like Eastwood sells it. It's pretty cool. It's got like a 20-foot hose. That's how I'm gonna spray the inside of my frames, rails. And you could just spray it through a hose. It'll just get into the places, obviously, that you can't get to. But we're not gonna go crazy with this. Just wanna get it nice and scuffed up so the paint will stick better. All right, that's good. Let's heat it up and let it dry. All right, our piece is all dried up. We're gonna go ahead and get it in place, weld it in, and see what we got. Let's line this bad boy up. So good. This is actually like right where I want it. I'm gonna get a little tack down here so it sits, and then we'll tack it right here because this is a perfect spot, and then I'll try to manipulate this around because this will bend a little bit up, which we want. Maybe I should put the plate in so I know where it's in the right spot, and then I can tack it and be certain. There's a little bit of room just to manipulate it, but this is exactly where we want it. So we're gonna go ahead and drop a tack weld, and then from there we'll just probably line it up and do our best to get a couple clean welds in, and then assess what we need to manipulate. Get a couple tacks in, get our vice grips in the plate out of the way. All right, we got a little bit tacked up. Oh yeah, that didn't even move at all. This is very solid. Let's just take a quick look at it. You can see I kind of brought this up flush here, and this kind of meets. I do have a little bit of a gap here. That was from being hasty last night, but this line is nearly perfect to weld. And this met pretty nicely too. So this is great, man. I'm super pumped about this. Let's go ahead and weld up a little bit more on it, make it really nice and solid so we can finish up this video. All right, let's take one look at this really quickly before I wrap this video up. Now you could see I was laying these welds to close the gap here, and towards the end, or about I say halfway through, you could see underneath is the weld that I put that reinforcing piece in, and I didn't close up the gap. That's just because it was taking so long. I might come back and finish this up, but for now I just got this panel welded to that previous piece that I put in right before this. But all the way around after that, you know, you could see right here I was hitting a really hot streak. It was beautiful. But the rest of it, very solid. I'm super pumped about it. This is where, you know, the T-plate will mount. Now this was flush, I will say. I have the angle running all the way back. It did flush out like this, you know, after the angle it kind of flushes out on this side. I don't think it matters. We'll find out if it matters, but on the bright side of things are nuts and bolts mounted really cleanly in here. And let's see if I can get this one started. Oh yes, look at that. Look at that. That is so nice. I can't even really believe that, because I just haven't done anything this technical quite yet. And it's not perfect by any means. I will say that it's not perfect, but the nuts are in place very tight, and this plate is welded in very, very solid. When I took the car apart originally, you know, 7-8 months ago, this was something that really terrified me, because I knew that these had to be in their specific place. And I pretty much just solved that issue. So, you know, this side's even a little worse, but I'm not worried about it, because you know what? I'll be able to trim this out just like I did on that side, mount that T-bracket up, and it'll just be the exact same result. I may be able to make the piece a little better on that side just because I know what I'm doing now, and you know, I know exactly what I'm gonna do here in order to make that happen. So we're gonna spray it up before I get out of here, because this is all I'm gonna do. Let's just coat it up with some paint so we know that it's not gonna rust up on us. Yeah, let that dry up and we'll be solid. This will be so good. All right, everybody, that's it for this week's video. I hope that everybody enjoyed. I'm really pumped about this piece getting in place, because like I said just a few moments ago, this was one of the scariest pieces in my head. Besides, you know, having to cut the frame and weld in the nuts and sleeves for the bolts that go to the frame for the subframe and the control arm in the front, which are very important. This was a pretty important piece, and it's nothing that I've created in the past like this technical, or even, remotely close to it. So I'm really pumped with the way this came out. I think it looks really solid. You can see what it looks like now, all sprayed up. I mean, one color, that's it. We have this piece finished. There's no longer rust in any of the pinch weld. I guess maybe from here back, we do have to get in here in that pocket. Maybe we'll be getting into it next week. We'll trim it back and knock it down as best as we possibly can, spray it up and seal it back up. I'm not even certain I need to do that just because the rust wasn't that bad in there, but I just may or may not. I don't know. You'll have to wait and find out and see if I actually do that. But like I said, guys, this is incredible. I'm so happy that we got this finished up for this week's video. Now, this next upcoming week is most likely going to be the last week of the giveaway, so you have to participate. You know, if you did this week's, great. You'll be in the poll for next week, but you know, next week's is probably going to be the very last one. So make sure you do those things in order to participate. I'd love to give you guys a set of the wireless earbuds. We have 2 left to give away, and I'm really excited about that. It's been going okay so far. I hope that you guys enjoyed. We're just going to get out of here for this one, and it's going to be Christmas by the next time I talk to you guys. So Merry Christmas. Thanks everybody for all the support. It's been really great, and I hope to talk to you guys soon. Have a great holiday, and I'll catch you in the next video. Merry Christmas, everybody. Pull your name. Who you got?
One.
Just one. Who is it?
Tricolata.
Yeah, good job, Sophie.